From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence.
A beautiful day, and we welcome you to the program, VOP, this morning. It's Monday, the 14th day in the month of April, and U.S. court orders FBI, DEA to release records on Tinubu's investigation. Oh well. Presidency disowns Tinubu Shetima billboards, warns supporters against early campaigning. Well, these are the conversations we have, and another that Fina will be letting us into. I am Moses Humphrey.
Also on our radar today, Niger Delta militants launch attacks on oil infrastructure, vows to expel usurpers amid Rivers political crisis. All right, like Moses rightly said, those will be the topic of conversation today. I am Fina Okechukwu.
Okay, good morning and thanks for joining us. I am Chukwuma Okoro. Well, those are the major topics of discussion. But before we move on, we encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are at Voice of the People TV. Also, follow us on other social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. You can also visit our website, www.vop.ng, for other interesting stories. There's a number. This show is an interactive one. There's a number showing on your screen, 090-4473-2605. You can call in or send WhatsApp messages, to those numbers to express your opinion about what is going on in Nigeria and the show in particular. Oh, well, talking about other trending stories, the national chairman of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, Abdullahi Ganduje, has dismissed the idea of an opposition measure in light of the upcoming 2027 general elections, labeling it as a futile effort that is destined to fail. Well, Ganduje made these comments on Friday while speaking to reporters after leading the APC's National Working Committee, NWC, on a Salah visit to former President Muhammad Buhari at his residence in Dara, Kaduna State. Well, 2027 is on the radar, where a lot of people are campaigning. Some are saying, look, it is not yet time to campaign. Some are saying, look, the presidency, there is no vacancy in the presidency, and all of that. And for Ganduje to say that, look, this is what we have. He's entitled to his opinion, but also understand that, look, the coalition, the merger, the talks are going on. We hear Atiku Abubakar and El Rufai, P2B, Adewale Adebayo, and a whole lot of people. Rotimi Amechi, John Fayoreka Yemi, whether you call them disgruntled or not, they are discussing. The North is ganging up, clearly, against the president. Even at that, certain elements in the North are also written for the presidency. So it is not just right for Ganduje to say, look, coalition is not going to happen. Legally, it's allowable. They can do it. So there is nothing like it's not going to happen. It happened in 2013, when CPC, ACN, and APP coalesced and merged into a political party, APC, that dislodged PDP from office. And so, after how many years? After 9 years, we see another group of people, Nigerians for that matter, trying to come together to say, look, enough is enough of this brigandage that is called APC and all of that. They have labeled APC, whatever, all the names that they can. But Nigerians are asking, these elements that are coming together now, is it not the same elements that were part of the APC that has purportedly or supposedly ruined Nigeria? Most of them moved from the APC to the PDP, back to APC, back to PDP, and back to APC again. Now they are shopping for a new party where they are going to coalesce to say, look, APC and Tinubu, we don't want you again in 2027. But if you ask me, I think that is the call of Nigerians. It's only the Nigerian people that can determine whether APC is doing well or whether a coalition is going to unseat APC. But at the moment, it is not for Ganduje to say that the coalition is not going to work. It's his opinion, by the way, but a lot more people are interested in coming together to rescue this country from what APC has turned it into. Vina?
You know, it's interesting when you talk about 2027, possible coalition for the 2027 election, even when we know that it is not time, according to the laws, according to the constitution that we have in this country, it's not yet time for politicking to begin for the 2027 election. I don't know why is it that, the APC ruling party, it's more like they're always on their toes, like they're walking on eggshell. Anytime there's a talk about coalition, they're always there to jump in, to defend, to talk, and to react. This is actually coming after the likes of Erifai Nasiru, Atiku Abubakar, and others went to visit the president, just on a Salah visit, from what Erifai told us. But at the end of the day, some persons were of the opinion that that particular visit was for, a possible coalition. You recall that after that visit, the president also reiterated, or the former president reiterated, that he's still an APC member. Even when Erifai moved from APC to SDP. Now that Ganduje went to visit him, saying that he wasn't around during the Salah period and all that, he's coming up to tell Nigerians that, the people who are plotting or talking about, a coalition or a merger should forget about it, saying that the merger will not be possible in 2027 for election to happen. Then my question again is this: if it's to say we should shove that apart, we know that APC come up as a result of a merger from other political parties, even members of PDP, like Chuma rightly said, were part of what made APC what APC is today. If APC as a party is doing well, is representing the interests of the nation well, they shouldn't be so defensive when it gets to people talking about possible coalition. They shouldn't. They should just allow whatever things that they've put in place work or speak for them. Coming up to tell Nigerians that particular talk or mutation about a major will not see the light of the day is left for Nigerians to decide. But that is when the time is right. So I will also, beg the political elites in Nigeria to desist from politicking at this particular time. It is not yet time for this to begin. Please, we should wait until when the right time, when the umpires stipulate for us to go about it, if politics come. Let us focus on the mandate. APC should give Nigerians what they promised Nigeria in 2023 general election.
Oh, well, politics is life, and we will continue to play politics. I mean, politics is in everything we do, what we wear, where we go to, who we interact with. It's all about politicking. But campaigning for elections has not started. So those that are putting up billboards, yes, the president has said desist from it. But talking about mergers, the possibility of a merger, well, it's all in the game. It's all about alliances. That's what this is about. If the APC will be, if a party will come up, or if parties will come together to unseat the APC come 2027, we wait to see. Whether or not, it will, I think politicians should just go about doing what they do. Now, the question is, those going to former President Muhammadu Buhari, to seek his permission, to strategize, I wonder what they were doing before 2015. Because I know that even Buhari, before 2015, needed a Tinubu, needed an APC to get into power. And Tinubu has, in more occasion, bragged about putting people in office, like, I put you there, I made you this, I made you that. He has, like him or hate him, he has all the aces, all right? And Ganduje said something that I think we are ignoring. He said, look, we know what to do when the time is right. The alliances will not work. Now, it's not about the politicians. The alliances may not work. I think I'll just have to agree with Ganduje on this one. The alliances, it may not work, really. Because it's not about the politicians now. It's about Nigerians. It's not about the party, because it's the same people. It's the same people that were in CPC, the same people in AC, the same people in NPDP and PDP and APC and SDP and whatever you want to call the parties. They're the same. Nigerians should decide that, look, who do we think collectively do we think best would best uphold what we want in Nigeria? Who do we think will give Nigerians, generality of Nigerians, the dividends of democracy? Who would respect the rights of the people? That's the person that you should vote for. If that person comes up for election, regardless of the party, even if it's one, ZLP or, ZLP is a good party, but even if it's just one party somewhere, if Nigerians can come together and say, look, let's vote for the individual, like what we saw play out in 2023, then an impact would be felt. The impact will be felt. So it's not about the politicians coming together. It's about the people. Will the people come together? Will the people decide on what is best for them? Or will the people be divided along ethnic lines again? Will the people be divided along religious lines again? Are we going to start talking about Muslim or Christian or Christian Muslim or pagan Muslim or pagan Christian or voodoo, well, whatever? Are we just going to come together and ask for a good Nigeria? Who can make it work? We need to fix Nigeria. And the onus is on us, is on you, is on every one of us. That's the bottom line. Oh well, the Kano state government has dismissed a recent ruling by the ECOWAS Court of Justice, which deemed certain elements of its blasphemy laws incompatible with international human rights standards. The government asserts that these laws are essential for safeguarding the religious and moral values of its citizens. In a statement from the State Commissioner for Information, and Internal Affairs, Ibrahim Garba Waya, the government emphasized its refusal to yield to external pressures and reaffirmed its commitment to enforcing laws that reflect the beliefs of its predominantly Muslim populace. Well, it's, topics like this are really tender. You want to tread softly on topics like this because we have people that are overly zealous and they might just take things out of context. But the bottom line is we have allowed different laws to govern us at different parts of the country. Some parts have, the laws according to the Republic, according to Nigeria, and then we have the Sharia law. So as long as we embrace this, we'll always have issues. Now, it's now up to those that, in as much as the Constitution says every Nigerian can live everywhere, do whatever they want, do whatever they want within the context of being a good Nigerian anywhere you are, but we still have some of these laws, and I think the best would be for those that do not align with some of these religious beliefs to move to areas where they will not fall short. Because if you dress a certain way in certain parts of the country, whether or not you practice that religion, there's a possibility that you will offend somebody, you will offend a few people, and like I said, the overzealous ones would want to take advantage. You don't put on hijab. You're not a Muslim, but you don't put on hijab, and you get into a gathering where you have Muslims and you have your hair done. You could be termed as, trying to seduce, and then you could have people cut off their hair. So, it's really horrible to think about these things that are bedeviling us. And to be honest, these are very trivial things, but this is what we have reduced ourselves to as a nation. Oh well, I will just leave this one at this for now.
If you check what the Commissioner for Information and Internal Affairs in Kano State, Ibrahim Garba Weya, what he said was the fact that he's of the opinion that they need to defend, the belief of, the Muslim who happen to be predominantly of higher population in Kano State. But he also forgot the fact that he also made mention of Nigeria being a federal state, operating a federal system where states are being given the right to enact some laws and all that, and also enforce it according to what suits them, for them to be able to maintain the custom or their norms or their tradition. But he also forgot the fact that Nigeria happened to be a signatory to international organizations where human rights are being upheld. When he's bringing up his defense, he forgot that ECOWAS, in that particular suit, also made a statement to, or made, point to that direction whereby we know that Nigeria, being part of ECOWAS and other international organizations, have signed some treaties that uphold human rights, fundamental human rights, and for them to wake up and keep on, or for them to accept the fact that it will be, they will carry on with this, blasphemy law. Let me use that one, blasphemy law now in Kano State, is more like going against what the signatory or what the international fundamental human rights states. And also, if we're looking at what Garuba also pointed out, are we sitting here to talk about the superiority of a state law now over the nation's constitution? Fundamental human rights is part of what we have in our constitution, yes. So are we now going to relegate that to the barriers background to uphold what the state law or what the state, rules and regulations are? I think we need to find a way to get or strike a balance and understand that if we get to Kano State, yes, we know the majority of the persons residing there are Muslims, but we have persons that practice other religions there too. So if he is to tell himself the truth or come out open to defend what he should be at this 21st century, he should understand that civilization have got across a whole lot. And then he should also understand that striking a balance actually is the way to go. We shouldn't be extremists in some things that, would have actually treated the way it should be in international eyes.
Yes, Fina, very well said. If you look at this thing, when Samuel P. Huntington wrote his book, The Clash of Civilizations, I think he had this kind of situation in mind where you have civilizations that are at dissonance with each other. Clearly here, we are looking at the Western civilization, and another one is the Islamic civilization, where a country, a state, a sovereign state, has assented to, ratified a treaty, United Nations human rights, whatever, ECOWAS also, Declaration of Human Rights, and we have a state, a subnational saying, look, this is at variance with our cultural and religious values. So it's more like a clash. So it depends on everything now borders on the ability of the state, that is the Nigerian state or the sovereign state, to moderate and modulate those differences to the extent that it doesn't cause any upheaval within society. Because look at it now. I mean, we have a commissioner coming to say, look, the ECOWAS parliament, or what ECOWAS said, is at variance with our own cultural values. And you have a situation where there's a treaty, and Nigeria is a signatory to this treaty. So what happens? We need the Attorney General of the Federation, the Attorney General of the state to sit together and say, look, at this point, this is what we need to do. This is the direction that we need to travel. Otherwise, that is when things spin out of control. And when things spin out of control, you go back to that same clash of civilization where one is coming up, another one is descending, and all of that. It's a whole lot. Like Moses said, it's very touchy. It could be very edgy because you never can say what you will say, what another person will say, and there will be bedlam around city. So we want a situation where this thing is handled carefully so that it doesn't descend to another form of conflict, religious conflict. That is the least thing that we can afford at this moment. Anyway, Fina, on Friday, go ahead.
On Friday, 2 masquerades led a protest in Omu Aron community within the Irepmudun local government area of Kwara State against what they termed outrageous illicit charges. The protesters, primarily comprised of young people, voiced their objections to the community's abrupt change from Band C to Band A in the billing structure implemented by the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company in IBEDC. They argued that this transition was to blame for the exorbitant electricity bills residents receive for the month of March. When I saw the story, the first thing that came to my mind is if we're to be from the part of the country where I come from, yeah, that is more like the gods are getting involved in what is happening now with us who are the living. Yes, well, masquerade is now championing protest. And what are the people talking about? Their migration, the movement of the people in that community from band C to band A. First was creating or dividing Nigerians, putting Nigerians into different bands. We have band A, band B. And these bands now, they have some requirements. If you belong to band A, you're expected to have 20 hours power supply in Nigeria. But those of us who are being subjected to that or migrated to that band A, we don't even enjoy up to 14, 15, 10 hours. We're not even sure. We do shift loading. Sometimes we don't even know when we're to get light and all that. And people are complaining and talking about the fact that they're paying high exorbitant amount of money and they're getting little or less, value for what they pay for. And they are there in the street protesting. I believe that IBEDC will look into this. If there is any challenge, that must have led to this happening, they should also rectify that. The gods are not happy, Chikuma.
Yes, the gods are not happy, clearly. Even the people are not happy themselves. For the people to roll out the masquerades shows you that, look, we have gone beyond talking points. It is now action time. Action time to the extent that, look, this thing is a clear and present danger. We've talked about it. 360 degrees, anyhow you turn it. There is no how people, businesses can survive at this rate, electricity rate now. Now you migrate people from band B to band A, and you charge them heavily, yet you don't deliver the quality of services that you are charging for. And look at what just happened, even in the telco. The moment they increased prices, services dropped. So how do you explain all of that? We have a minister who, short of defending his actions, is always telling Nigerians, look, you are responsible for this. You don't off your light. It was not a collapse. It was partial disturbance and all of that. And we keep going round and round and round the circle, more like a circle show, without actually solving any problem. Look, let me tell you, electricity is the backbone of industrialization. If you don't have it, you don't have anything. And you can't build nothing, something on nothing. We don't have that base. That base is electricity, power generation, power distribution, power availability. If you don't have it, there is no way businesses can survive, especially with the high price, the high cost of AGO, diesel, PMS, petrol, and even kerosene for households, and even cooking gas. You don't have these things because there are also people who use cooking gas to produce like meat pie, sausages, confectionaries, and all of that, even at that micro level, at the little level. So by the time you put all of these things together, it is the high cost of electricity, high cost of power, high cost of energy that is actually pulling businesses down. We can't continue in this direction. Why will you migrate people from a band that they are not doing well? You are going even to a worse situation. People are complaining, businesses are falling up. And what we get is the minister trying to defend everything. It doesn't. If this is going to solve the problem, I will even ask people in my own community to roll out the masquerades, because we even have masquerades that are stronger than the one that they have in Amoro. There's one we call it Jele. There are things that we call Mong. So by the time they go and TLN the EEDC and all of that, I think everybody is going to sit up. But that's an aside. It's not going to solve the problem. What we need to do is talk to the people responsible at the appropriate quarter. Something has to be done. Let us don't allow things to degenerate to this level where we have to invite the gods to come and help us settle human cases. If we have reached that point, then we've lost everything. Moses?
Yes. The gods need to get involved, really. Because, really? Yes. We need to beckon on the gods to come and lend their own voices too. Maybe the government will hear, because government is on a different level. Just the other day, we heard that 8 discos were asked to pay a certain amount of money. They had overbilled customers, I think to the tune of about 628 million naira within a space of 3 months, July to September 2024. They had overbilled customers to that tune, 628 million naira. And they were asked to, those were customers on estimated billing. And they were asked to pay back, it's not just about, well, that's come from the NERC. Well, they are working indeed. This billing, bans and all of that, I know people in communities, beggar area, who tell me that, look, they want us to migrate to Band A. We have refused to migrate, and so they don't give us light. So I sit in my street, and the next street that is Band A, I see light 24 hours, and I don't have light. I have light for like 2-3 hours in a day. And when we complain, when we come together and complain, they say, migrate. Let us migrate you to Band A so you would have light. But it's not even about migrating, it's what people have to pay. People are refusing to migrate to Band A because it's expensive. 20,000 naira worth of units will only last you less than 2 weeks. How much are you making? How much are businesses making? How much is that tailor making from that dress? You know, so it's not, there should be light across board. There should be electricity across board. The bands should be, you know, dissolved and let people just have electricity, all right? And then probably properly build. Oh, well, this is an ongoing conversation. We can't exhaust it in a few minutes. It's something that would have to revisit. Maybe during newspaper review, we'll take some time to talk about it. Now, let's quickly get to the papers. Now, it's newspaper headlines. Let's look at stories that made it to the cover pages of the dailies. I'm just going to quickly run to a few papers that we have here. We have The Punch, The Vanguard, The Guardian, Nigerian Tribune as well. Some of these dailies we have on our table this morning. So, from the Nigerian Tribune, these headlines appear, and well, these are the headlines. It says, how Supreme Court's rulings landed PDP LP in further crisis. Abure remains in charge. LP spokesman, as Apapa Nenadi lay claims. PDP in limbo as members await decision on Anyanwu Ude-Okoye. Our internal mechanisms will decide way forward. Ologunagba. And tell your papa, Soyinka slams Tinubu's government wants Idris Abdul Karim's song on band. UBA unveils upgraded POS terminal, revamped money app. Nigeria attracted over 5 billion naira in new gas-related investment in 12 months. President, Nigerian Gas Association. Presidency says, no new revelations as U.S. court orders FBI, DEA to release records on Tinubu's investigations. And SEC bans unregistered digital asset exchange, online forex platforms. Air passengers volume drops amid biting economy. Those are the headlines on the cover page of Nigerian Tribune.
Quickly up next is the Daily Independent newspaper, and the window headlines are: Serap asks Ababio Abbas to withdraw bill targeting bloggers. Student loans, NOA uncovers fraud by banks, tertiary institution. And we have the banner headline on the cover page of the Daily Independent: to be expert tax FG on 30,000 untapped jobs in marine blue economy. Right after that story, urge proper harnessing as crucial areas of economic diversification. Soyinka criticizes FG for banning Idris Abdul Karim's protest song. FG bans unregistered digital asset exchanges, online forex platforms. Despite Trump's tariff, US seeks to deepen trade ties with Nigeria. Envoy meets Tinubu in Paris. CAN condemned Letu killings, urge leaders to embrace servant leadership. Nothing new in FBI DEA records on Tinubu's drug case presidency. Right after that, disclaims 2027 campaign billboards and nationwide. And we have a major pictorial from the Catholic. I believe they're the ones there on that pictorial carrying out the Palm Sunday that was yesterday. Beneath that pictorial, Nigeria's $3.42 billion air cargo at risk as Trump's tariff resumes soon. Bottom strip headline: Gabon's hunter leader wins presidency by landslide. Those are the stories on the cover page of the Daily Independent.
Now, let's quickly run through the Nigerian News Direct with the big story: why Buhari Tinubu bond remains unshaken. A nightmare for opposition. That's coming from the presidency. With the writer, says relationship a foundation for future party unity, progress. That story is on page 4. We have more stories. UBA strengthens agency banking with upgraded POS terminals. POS terminals, I beg your pardon, money up. Kaduna as new power capital inside Buhari's strategic return to the political arena. Proposed bill to regulate bloggers affront to fundamental human rights. Serap tells National Assembly. That story is on page 4. We are focused on economic revitalization, national security, not 2027. That's coming from the presidency. And the Lagos government dislodges quarters, recovers weapons at waterfront. And that's all from the Nigerian News Direct newspaper.
Well, those are the headlines that we can take for now. We'll go deeper into more headlines during newspaper review, and that's at 9 o'clock. In the meantime, let's get into the conversation proper for this morning. U.S. court orders FBI, DEA to release records on investigation on the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Let's talk about this when we come back. Join us again.
From the views on the street
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents,
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual. It's the fundamental right of everyone to enjoy the highest attainable standard of health, without distinction of race, religion, or political belief. On VOP TV, we bring you Health Check, a show that x-rays different health issues and provides solutions with the help of experts in the medical field. Join us every Saturday, 2 p.m. on Health Check. Health Check on VOP TV. Your health, our priority.
Well, a United States District Court in Washington, D.C. has ordered the FBI and the DEA to release records related to their investigations into President Bola Tinubu's alleged involvement in drug trafficking. Judge Beryl Howell ruled on April 8 that the agencies must process non-exempt records as part of Freedom of Information Act request and revoke their GLOMA responses, which avoid confirming or denying the existence of requested information. Now, the case stems from 12 FOIA, that's Freedom of Information Act requests, filed by Aaron Greenspan, founder of Plainsight, in 2022 and 2023, targeting 6 federal agencies, including the CIA and the IRS. Well, Greenspan sought information on a Chicago heroin ring from the early 1990s, specifically regarding 4 individuals associated with the drug operation. And these individuals include President Tinubu. Meanwhile, the Bola Tinubu presidency has dismissed concerns over a recent judgment, the recent judgment by a U.S. federal court directing American law enforcement agencies to release investigative records related to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's, asserting that the documents contain nothing new. There is no new evidence. What is in that document is what Nigerians already know. That's from the stable of Bayo Nonuga. Oh well. Thanks for joining us. If you're just tuning in, this is VOP this morning. And we do have with us in the studio Mr. Akin Fatunke, who is a communication consultant. Good to have you join us this morning.
Thank you very much, Moses and crew. Always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. And we also have Barrister Darlington Agumwo. Barrister, good morning to you. Welcome.
Yeah, Moses, good morning. And Moses and Fina, Okura and Fina, yeah.
Fina.
How's
Yes.
everything?
Very well.
You're welcome.
Now, we're back to this conversation. And like I predicted, that this will come up again. I predicted that sometime back when we talked about this, especially when the conversation around the president being a CIA asset, or was it CIA or FBI? But anyway, an active asset came up. I predicted that this conversation isn't over. And here we are again. Now, Bayo Nonuga said something yesterday, and Nigerians are chiming in on it, that the records, Nigerians have, some sort of information about the president already. It's been out there in the past 30 years. Nigerians have talked about Chicago University, talked about forfeiture monies gotten from drugs, allegedly. I use that loosely. Talked about some of these things. But some Nigerians said, look, regardless of all of that information, Nigerians still voted for Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be president of Nigeria. Will anything change by this revelation? By the way, you do recall that some time back, Nigerians, where the FBI were to release a 150-page dossier on the president, which they later, did not release. Will anything change? That's the big question. Barrister Darlington.
Yeah, Moses, I have said it the first time Atiku brought this scandal to public notice. I said it that with this revelation, Tinubu will struggle all his life to clean up this mess, not just his presidency. Whether he is in or out of office, this thing can never go away from him. It's not possible. It will never go away. My fear is that with him as the president of Nigeria, you and I are in trouble, because for you to be an active agent or assets, that means you are giving information to these secret services all over the world.
Barrister, the presidency denied that.
Hold on. Look, Mr. Okoro, look, what they deny is not important here. It is what is on ground. When you are active assets, what are you doing? You are furnishing your handlers with information. about your country, because it can't be for other countries now. You cannot be a Nigeria president and you're giving them access about Russia. It's not possible. It must be either within Nigeria or Africa or West Africa. You can see that you and I are in trouble. That is the main issue here. Because it cannot be an active asset for nothing. He is paying for it.
Okay.
And you and I are paying for it. So,
all right,
this particular issue in a Senate climb, it is more than enough for us to say, please, Mr. President, we have had enough of this thing. Let us have a breathing space. Go and rest. America will not allow. Just mention that an American president is a KGB agent. Just mention it in America and see what will happen. But right, here we are tolerating it.
All right then. Let me bring Mr. Akin Fatuke to the conversation now. Same question I'm going to ask you. Do you think anything will change really? And another added to that would be, if those revelations were prevented from getting into public domain because at the time we heard that he was an active asset, what has changed? Have they fallen apart? Shouldn't the US protect an asset? I believe that's the normal thing. I mean, if one is an asset, which means that they are providing information to help you fight certain things, you should protect that individual. So hiding, not releasing the information at the time could be termed protecting that individual. If they are now saying, look, go ahead and release, what has changed? That's two questions in one.
Yes, thank you very much for those questions. And I am a stickler for law. I pursue truth through a channel and a process that is laid down. And as far as I am concerned, my belief and conclusion is that then go ahead. What is there? I mean, 30 years ago, 15 years ago, yesterday, the next 10 years, you continue to kick the can down the road for me. As far as I'm concerned, no individual, even the American president, even the Russian president, the Nigerian president, Netanyahu, I've just given examples, can stop a gale whose time have come. Now me just break that into three compartments. If it did not sail 30 years ago, and subsequently 3 years ago, if there are new evidences to the process, because at one point in time you protect an asset, you don't protect an asset, and all that. If the Freedom of Information Bill had not been drilled to the bottom pot then, so you want to drill it now, why not? For me, I think it should go. The area I disagree with is to say that me as a Nigerian, I'm in trouble. No, I'm not in trouble. Whoever has been indicted is indicted. He should or she should, go and face the law and the process.
Okay.
And when he or she faces law and process, I have been to the US a couple of times, even at worst times and cases.
So, Mr. Ake, when you said that you are not affected as an individual,
yes, I want to land it. Okay. And people have poked hands at me, and I said, look, I am a different Nigerian, and there is no way, and usually they
exactly my point. You are a different Nigerian, but the issue here in contradiction is that the person who is your president, the person who has the authority.
My president or president. Our president?
No, you're president because you singled out yourself. You singled out yourself because you personalized it. No, you personalized it. So the person that is your president clearly has questions to answer. Don't you think, how is that going to impact on you as an individual, bearing in mind that it has an issue of legitimacy? There are concerns around his questions about him. And when you said that that it didn't sell initially 30 years ago. You recall too that there was clearly an issue of forfeiture, monies that were forfeited. That is not in contention. He admitted, to forfeiting money, drug money, which was sent back to the appropriate reporters. Now, that said, before this thing happened, like on the 13th of April, Bayo Ononoga released a State House press statement, that says that, look, Mossad Bolus, Trump's advisor on African policy, was somewhere in France meeting with our president to strengthen...
Oh, it's now our president.
Yes.
I'm happy with
to strengthen Nigeria's president, to strengthen bilateral ties between Nigeria and the United States of America in faraway France.
Right.
And Mossad Bolus is the father of Michael Bolus, who is the husband of Tiffany, Trump's daughter. And Michael Bolus is clearly has business interests with Gilbert Chagori, who happens to be our president's very close friend. Yes. I am trying to create a network for you to understand.
Go ahead.
And all of a sudden, we have a situation where this judge has said, look, CIA, FBI, go ahead and release all these documents. Documents that they said they couldn't release because they didn't have information. Or by law, they were not allowed to do that. Certainly, that law has been vacated. So, and we have this person going to France to meet with our president in the face of these revelations. If you're able to put these things together, does it look like America or Trump, the American government is trying to exert, some business concessions for Nigeria? And how does that impact on Nigeria as a country?
Thank you. I'm happy that you changed course because I didn't feel comfortable saying your president.
No, you started it. You said I am.
Can I come in?
No, I want to correct you based on what you said.
He is the president of Nigeria, whether you voted for him or don't vote for him. So
that is not an issue. That is not an issue.
So, but later on you came and said Nigeria's president.
After I had removed you from the equation.
No. I feel comfortable with that, and I feel that.
Go ahead, Mr. Fatuke. Go ahead.
All the theories that you have conjured, according to you and according to the theorists, pales into insignificant for me on account of my first statement. If the U.S. judge has asked that the documents should be released, so should it be. It's not for me to now begin to then say that somebody went to France, somebody is married to whatever. To me, is not relevant. If at the end of the day, there is an indictment 30 years after, so be it.
Okay,
so that is clear.
You are shaking your head. You seem to have an alternative.
Yes, I do. View. You see, in the world of Secret Service, persons and the objects are traded off. You can sacrifice things in order to get results. That is why I said that we are even Tinubu himself, he's not a free man.
So do you think that the CIA at this point in time have sacrificed their active assets?
There are things Tinubu is doing that have kept him off the hook from those documents. You cannot tell me that the U.S. secret agents are just shielding Tinubu for nothing. It's not possible. Something is going on behind closed doors that you and I may not know. That is the main issue here. You don't know.
Guess
yes, we are sacrificing a lot, both our assets as a country and then our secrets as a country. These things have been sacrificed because that is the only thing this FBI and CIA want from you. Something they will use against you in future. So for a president to be an active asset for such a body, what do you think they are getting from Nigeria? Are you giving them money? Do they have it more than you?
Now, Barrister, are you surprised that this is coming at this point in time when even Donald Trump himself made this statement that, during the Cold War or even the Second World War, that Africa in general happens to be a good ground for CIA and their operations?
Of course, because you have a weak president in office now. I've told you, Tinubu is doing everything. When he hired a PR man in America to clean up his image, what was he doing? Is a record that he did that. So he knows that he has a credibility problem. Okay, and he needed America to. So whatever they tell him, he's willing to do it.
Okay, so Barrister, let me stay with you. Let's speak some law here. Mm-hmm. You know, in the lead up to after the 2023 presidential elections, Atiku Abubakar and P2B went to court. You know, at a point, Atiku went to the United States and procured fresh evidence. You know, but unfortunately, the Supreme Court, you know, had the discretion to admit or not those evidence, and they didn't admit them. It is discretionary. They are not compelled by law, according to Rule 70, subsection 2 of the Supreme Court.
Yes, yes.
So the Nigerians had nothing to do. Now, with this revelation now, and the president is currently covered by immunity, going forward, before 2027, you know, during filing of processes in INEC and all of that, these revelations now, if they are indicting or if they indict the president, could they be of any legal importance to parties that want to say, look, the president is not qualified to contest?
Of course, it has serious effect. It has. We have seen presidents in America resign from the campaign because of scandalous revelations about them. We have seen it. It will affect him, except the Nigerian society that I know will condone it as usual. Apart from that, it is a very serious scandal that ought not to be glossed over, because you are talking of the image of the country. You are talking of the credibility of the country. You are talking of the assets of the country in the hands of such a person.
How serious, Barrister, is this particular, scandal you're talking about when the Supreme Court, threw that fresh evidence that Atiku Abubakar and P2B had out, saying that it came in late? That was the reason they gave before.
My dear, do you know the implication of a foreign body telling you that your president is the active assets?
Barrister,
have you sat down to imagine?
Let's put things in perspective. We know that there's been no criminal indictment against the president. There's been no criminal indictment.
No.
There was an monies forfeited, but there was no admittance to guilt.
No.
There was no admittance to guilt.
That forfeiture. Oh my God. When you are talking about plea bargain, what do you mean? It's an admittance of guilt now. That was the meaning. You ought to serve 10 years. Say, okay, let me forfeit this so that I will not go free. It's an admittance. There's no other two ways about it. Then why did you forfeit your property? If you legitimately acquired them from the right source, why should you give it to somebody? Why not fight and say, look, this is not drug money. Then we can take it from there. But you forfeited it. That means you admitted. Let nobody come and tell me another thing, because we know how this plea bargain works. It's an admittance of guilt. You don't want to serve the sentence.
You feel the same way, Mr. King?
Yes, it's the same thing. Nobody can tell you otherwise.
I'm moving to Mr. King now. Do you feel the same way?
My words are measured and precise. All the facts as we knew them went through a process, and it was told. I think it was you, yes, that said, no, it was Fina that said, the Supreme Court of Nigeria did not admit those evidence there. And I remember, rational thinking said, well, yeah, it was not admitted then, it was late, technical reasons. Now you have an opportunity as 2027 is coming. So what is the jittery? Let it go through the normal process, and if there is an indictment, not because US is saying that a sovereign country, and I belong to a sovereign country, says yes, we are not, and the voters, why not? I am not going to appropriate and reprobate here, and I begin to speculate on it. Is straightforward. Atiku Abubakar took this case to court. Now he's heading a coalition, and that coalition now have a strong force. Unless if you are saying, if the thing is now done here, go and impeach Mr. President, and you know it's going to be a process. Why don't you wait until 2027. You now have fresh evidence. Go in there and do your kill.
All right, thank you so much.
As far as I'm concerned.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
That's not how it works. What I'm saying in essence is that there is an indictment already. Tinubu himself have not challenged this thing. Rather, what he was doing is to go and stop it from US.
But
you saw how he begged
the immunity clause in Nigeria constitution still protecting the president as number one person in Nigeria. So there's nothing we can do at this point in time.
No, don't say so. No, you can hold on. You can be investigated for criminal infraction while in office, no matter who you are. But you cannot be taken to court. So that particular criminal indictment is enough for you to say, look, I am not fit for this office. That is the ideal thing anywhere in the world. All
right, let's bring in Comrade Destiny Nabulele, who is a public affairs analyst and political
commentator. Do you remember that the certificate or drug is not the only thing? There is this Toronto whatever, and then there's another social security number theft, all on one man.
All right, but this one that we have here now, the allegations, and also we have 4 names already. 4 names were what was mentioned in this one. Comrade Destiny Nabulele, good morning. Good to have you join today's, VOP this morning. And now my question is this. Some persons are, especially the presidents, who are saying that there's nothing new we're going to see from this, judgment that was delivered on Tuesday, where we learned that all documents that, were being given or happened to be in the hands of CIA or FBI, 1990 should be laid bare. Recall that there was a global response, and that global response says that the security agencies can decide not to tell you what you want or give out the information you need because of how they operate. Now that we have that global response overturned by a Colombian court, do you think that we're going to see new evidence surface to this regard, to this particular case? And listen, what then do you think will be the fate of our president as number one citizen in Nigeria?
Let me again appreciate your platform for this wonderful opportunity. I am a student of diplomatic practice. For me, as a Nigerian, there is nothing, how many times? So for us, and we all know the president that we have very just now. And before now, he has been trying to see how he can do some kind of cleanup here and there. And you and I know that President Ahmed Tinubu is not just a mere person, quote unquote. And for me, I don't see the international community dictating to us or trying to tell us or define to us the issue of morality or who is wrong or he has done one crime or the other. When we requested, or perhaps at the eve of the election of this present administration, they refused to let us know its antecedents vis-a-vis in the United States of America or the Americas. So for me, I don't see anything.
So we are unable to hear Comrade Destiny Nabulele give his view there. So we'll just work on that and then we'll get back to Comrade Destiny Nabulele. Now, let's bring it back to the studio now. I think, Mr. Ake, let me come back to you. Yes. Still, we know that 2027 is around the corner. What do you think the courts will do in this regard if this revelation, when released, indicts the president or, puts the president in a precarious situation?
So, one,
this is as we wrap up.
Even 30 years ago, 5 years ago, I dissociate myself to say, there has been a criminal conviction. There's a way these things go. I do not think that's a criminal conviction. However, to the individual person, I am of the strong belief that if the courts, I don't know which courts we are talking about now, the US courts, and by implication, with fresh evidence presented to the Nigerian courts.
Nigerian courts, exactly.
Naturally, it's going to be an impairment for the person concerned for the next election. Pure and simple.
All right, Barrister Darlington.
Yes. We don't need to go far on this matter. By now, I was thinking that the National Assembly should have done something because the indictment is overwhelming. For you to...
The records have not been released yet. You want the National Assembly to act?
Let me... from the evidence available to us now, the National Assembly ought to act on it because if you are clean, as you claim, why did you go to the US and begging them not to release your documents and all that? Why? If they are clean, allow it's the normal thing. You are the one that put out yourself there for a high office, and you say we should not know your background. That is an indictment on its own. Don't let nobody try to cover whatever. And then all this is came out, and you never challenge it. You didn't sue Chicago State University. You didn't sue the CIA. You didn't sue Atiku. You kept quiet. What does that tell you? Because you have nothing to say. So why should the National Assembly be telling me that this particular person is fit for that office? Tell me. Is it the only person in Nigeria? Why should they be getting this type of embarrassment from him? Remember when the Chicago certificate broke out? All Nigerians all over the world, they started reviewing their academic certificate. Is that not true? And somebody is telling me himself is exempted. It affected every Nigerian, and me. The moment you hit there in their airport, they will start looking at you with one part. Maybe this is Tinubu's son, oh. This is from Tinubu's family, oh. That is how bad it was that everybody saw it. So must we continue to receive this type of nonsense from America? Every time, whenever they needed something, they will now push button. Mr. President, want to release some documents, so, and then people will run around and go to US and say, please don't do that. And then something will exchange hand, and then they will come back.
Well, we don't know if anything exchanged.
We don't know. Yeah, we don't know. What happened there?
The president said
they told us they will release 500 documents. They told us what is keeping them. What, Mr. Moses? What is when something is obvious? Don't push it. I said this thing will never go away until we now tell Tinubu go and rest. We have had enough. You have become Nigerian president. Fine, no problem. We have seen you all. Go and rest. That's what I'm saying.
All right then. Well, this will be a good place to anchor this conversation. We'll pick it up sometime later. Presidency disowns Tinubu Shetima billboards. Warns supporters against early campaigning. Let's talk about this when we come back. Join us again.
Thank you so much for seeing part of today's VOP This Morning. If you're just joining us, this is VOP TV and VOP This Morning, the flagship show. The presidency has distanced itself from unauthorized 2027 re-election billboards for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima, calling such early campaigning illegal under the 2022 Electoral Act. Presidential aide Bayo Onanuga emphasized that neither Tinubu nor Shettima approved the campaign materials and urged supporters to stop it immediately, noting that the president is currently focused on nation building. Meanwhile, former Vice President and PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar criticized Tinubu's leadership, stating through his aide that Nigeria does not deserve a leader with a questionable past. We still have with us in the studio, we have Barrister Darlington Agumo, a political analyst, and beside him is still Mr. Akin Fatoge, a communication consultant and arbitrator. And joining us from Benin is Comrade Destiny Nabulele, a political affairs analyst. And also be touching down, Port Harcourt, we'll have Dr. Emmanuel Irame also standing by to join the conversation. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for still being part of today's show. Now, let me start off with you, Barrister Darlington Agumo. First was a disclaimer being placed on people who are doing early campaign at this point in time. We recall that the ACF chairman, Maman in Kaduna State, said something about those who are campaigning early in Nigeria, saying that they should have their focus first on making sure that all that they promise Nigerians, the mandate that they assume office with, is what they are championing at this point in time, not early politicking or early campaign. And but we have not seen or heard of anybody being arrested or impounding of the vehicles that were branded in the north, to this regard. And now having Bayo Ononuga coming up to say that the president is not in support of this, neither is the vice president in support of this. Then what then is stopping them from confiscating those campaign materials? Because we've not heard that anything of such is happening in Nigeria.
My dear, that is what happens when you have people who are not sincere in office. I mean, look at it yourself. So that tomorrow now you say, I told them not to campaign. No, I told them. I don't know why they did not hear. That's the next thing you will hear. But arresting them, no. Reprimanding them, no. You don't know who they are. You don't know where they come from. You don't even know their identity. Let any other party start now. The DSS and all the police, they want to wake up and ask you, why are you violating the electoral law? This one that is happening now, because it's in favor of Tinubu, nobody will talk about it. Nobody. The only thing they'll tell you that, you heard when Tinubu said that nobody should campaign for him. Is that enough? Is that enough? If other party follow suit now, start doing their own now, you will see.
Very so in 2022, to start with, the APC also denied that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whom we have today, is going to participate in that election. Even when we saw, campaign materials making waves in Nigeria, they denied that and they say that no, the president is not interested, he's not in support and all that. But at the end of the day, we saw him participate in the 2023 election. Are we seeing a repeat of such acts again?
It has been the normal game in Nigeria. They violate our laws and the electoral laws in their own favor. Let nobody be deceived. Tinubu is preparing for 2027.
Okay.
All his actions and utterances is pointing toward that direction. So, right, starting early now is to beat the other opponents.
Okay, thank you very much, Barrister Darlington. Now, let's go to Benin, where we have Comrade Destiny Nabulele join us. Comrade Nabulele, good morning once again.
I guess you can hear me this time.
I hope it will improve in the course of this conversation now. Now, the presidency has distanced itself from billboards that appeared somewhere up north, about Tinubu Shetima 2027 and all of that. What is the difference between those billboards that the presidency has disowned and Sheyi Tinubu, who's been touring the country, saying that his father is Nigeria's best president ever, asking people, look, you have to vote for my father again. We have the president of the Senate, the principal of the National Assembly, Godswill Akpabio, saying, look, second term is guaranteed for the president. We have the APC national chairman saying, look, there is no vacancy in Aso Rock in 2027. What is the difference between the billboards that the presidency has disowned and saying, look, it is not yet the right time to campaign, and what Sheyi Tinubu, what Ganduje, and what Akpabio are doing, yet the presidency is mum on these things? Do you have any explanation for all of that?
You can see, if you can hear me, you can see I'm just laughing foolishly this morning. I'm laughing foolishly because I'm part of this, I'm part and parcel of this system, of this state culture called Nigeria. You see, I think the man that the last speaker said it all. You see, their insincerity, they are not sincere to Nigerians. Right from the very beginning of this present, administration, not even this administration, from this party, from Buhari to very just now, they are not sincere. You see, you are talking about Tinubu, who himself, quote and unquote, has tagged himself as the first son of Nigeria. And again, even in my dear state here, a sitting INEC governor, elected INEC appointed governor, has over time violated the electoral law by going, even the last weekend here, he was far away in Delta State to campaign. Before this weekend, he has campaigned in Edo State. That, take it or leave it, there is no space in National Rock that it is President Ahmed Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So we have declared, I'm sorry to use such word, Nigerian state, with utmost humility and simplicity, I don't think there's any system that is working very just now. I said it in Lagos about 2 weeks ago. For us to move from this present quagmire, from this conundrum, we must declare a state of emergency in the electoral system, that is the INEC, the judiciary. The bill now, to speak very just now, is the judiciary. The chunk of judgments that they let out from that sacred temple, it is called for questioning. And Nigerians, the time to speak out is now. If we fail to speak out now, our children abroad will ask us questions that we don't have answers to. For a sacred institution as that of the judiciary to have a separate judgment for the elite class and a separate judgment for the downtrodden, it is unheard of. In a fair climb, judiciary is the last hope of the common man. But in Nigeria, as we speak very just now, go recently for this present, with utmost humility, the chief judge of the federation, Kekere Ekuro or something. Just look at the chunk of look at the crisis they have further pulled this nation to. You see, the judiciary, they are just like an umpire. I'm sorry that I'm facing judiciary this morning. They are just like an umpire. What an umpire does in any game or in any tournament, it is to apply the rules, not to reinvent or to invent his own rules at the middle of the game. Over time, if you watch closely.
All right then. Well, thank you very much, Comrade Destiny Anabulele. You've made quite the points there. Well, thank you very much. But let's bring it back to the studio now. Mr. Akin Fatunke, with all right. Well, let's go to Port Harcourt Station now, where we have Dr. Emmanuel Irayaname standing by. Good morning to you, Chief Dr. Emmanuel.
Morning.
Good to have you join the conversation.
Welcome.
Now, my colleague asked a question. Let me throw it to you as well. The campaigns, the presidency dissociating itself from campaigns. You know, what is there a difference between billboards being erected in honor of the president, campaigning for the president and his vice, and the statements being made by certain individuals, one of them being the president's son, and also the president of the Senate as well, affirming that the president will run and, you know, will get into office in 2027. Is there any difference? Should the president dissociate or call to order his son, which of course happens to be the first son right now in Nigeria?
Unfortunately, we have governments that have decided never to be honest to their people. So that's what we're getting, is dishonesty, playing to the gallery. This president's son cannot be doing all he has been doing since last year till now. Gospel Akpabio, the senior president, could not be saying the things he has been saying. Virtually everybody on the structure, the party national party chairman, has been campaigning. So, assume that what they are saying is true. The question is, are those that have put those billboards ghosts? If you said they've fallen short of the law, Don't Nigerians know them? Does the security agencies, can the security agencies be able to track them? So just to tell people what they want to tell you is deceit.
All right, so in all of
They
this,
know
sorry to interrupt you. I thought you were landing on your thoughts already. In all of this, what should INEC do then? Should INEC get involved? Should INEC, authorize security agencies to arrest, to make arrests? Or should INEC penalize anybody?
INEC does not need to authorize. INEC does not need to. See, where institutions work, nobody is meant to authorize another institution that knows what she ought to do what she ought to do. Institutions rise to the task. It's unfortunate to have something before the word NEC that gives it a semblance of independence. But you and I do know that INEC is not independent. There is no independent system in our country. It's even worse with the caliber of persons we have today in government, where all institutions are seemingly dead. They just exist in the name of existence. You and I know that if it were the INEC we had during the military era, some of these persons that are in office today will never have been in office. They will have been disqualified. But today, the power to disqualify has been removed from INEC. INEC cannot disqualify anybody.
So what are we blaming this on at this point in time, Chief Dr. Emmanuel? What are we going to, blame this on? Because now we are no longer in the military era. Now we are practicing democracy, as the case may be.
We assume to be practicing democracy. If you ask who we are blaming, the answer is very simple. We blame ourselves. Nigerians have been docile. Nigerians have refused to take the bull by the horn. No one person is a bigger person in Nigeria than the other. But of course, Nigerians, you recall IBB telling us one thing, even in the midst of the highest level of pain at the time, that we are the happiest kind of people. We are the easiest to manage. We are not the problem. And those kind of things makes us happy and we keep quiet. We get docile. So these are simple things. And until Nigerians realize that they are not just destroying the immediate, but they are destroying systems for the future, perhaps they will change. We have this I don't care attitude. We don't, it does not concern me.
No. Before I come back to the city, what do you expect us to do when you say we are docile? Are you aware that some persons in Nigeria come up to protest about the bad way of governance in Nigeria? They were being arrested. We have some of them being charged with treasonable felonies. We have teenagers, arrested and tried in adult courts and all that. So what then do you expect them to do? You have people coming up to say we want to protest one thing or the other, and they're being met with later force by the security operatives. What then do you think Nigerians should do? If you say we're leaving it again back to INEC, you just told us now that INEC is not independent. So what do you think we should do as a nation?
That's just one trunk of it. And I'll tell you a very simple case. I'll tell you a very serious. You say people come to protest. Very funnily, among those that came to protest are also those that are pro the same trash on the spot. So for me, we are not ready yet.
Okay.
Speaking with a voice to say, yeah, this is what we want as a people. The Tinubu we have been abusing or saying all the kind of bad things we know he has done. If Tinubu comes around today, you'll find millions of Nigeria behind him.
Okay, all right, Dr. Irayanama. Dr. Irayanama, let me stay with you. Still on 2027 and about campaigns and merger and all of that. Now, the national chairman of the APC, Abdullahi Ganduje, released a statement over the weekend. He said that, look, the much talked about merger, the much talked about coalition, trying to wrest power from the APC, that is a futile effort that is going to fail. What's your reaction to that? Do you think that it's going to fail? Do you think that Ganduje has information? Or do you think that somehow they are the ones also, because at a point, Atiku said, look, that the ruling party was paying opposition parties, leaders, 50 million naira apiece to destabilize their parties. Now, in the face of what Ganduje had said, does it look like they are also going to ensure that the coalition doesn't work? What's your explanation? What's your thinking?
It is not a question of thinking. If I were Ganduje, I would do same.
Okay.
That's where I've always said that the problem is with us.
Okay, so you think that the ruling party is not going to allow, is going to destabilize the coalition?
Of course, if I am Ganduje and I'm indeed the ruling party, I will do same. I will not allow anybody. See, that's power game for you. The problem will not be with Ganduje and the ruling party. The problem will be those collecting the money and aiding the destruction of the other structures.
So where does that leave democracy? Because we had a situation where we had a ruling PDP, and PDP clearly allowed ACN, APP, and CPC to coalesce. I mean, Nigerians were happy that there was an alternative, multi-party system. What is the place of democracy in all of this?
Let's not make that mistake too. They didn't just allow them. It was carelessness on the part of its leadership at the time, perhaps. All of us knew very well that even the PDP told you how many years she intended to stay in power at that time. They told us how many years they intended to be in power. It was carelessness.
When you said they didn't allow them, did they create any form of entry barrier? Were there roadblocks on the way to the formation of APC?
Let us be very honest, there were several of them.
Okay, like...
There are several of them. I'll take a case of River State.
Okay.
In 2015, prior to 2015 election, there was a campaign for Guba in APC in Okrika. The ruling PDP had everything, destroyed, burnt cars just for a campaign because they felt the vice president's wife was from Okrika and that APC should not.
No, Doctor, as at that point, APC had already been formed legally as a political party.
No. Parties were formed. That was even what, yes. But
No. The point is this: do you think that the ruling party will allow a coalition, like Ganduje has said, that is an effort in futility? Do you think that they will ever allow it to happen? Which you have agreed that if you were Ganduje, you will not allow it to happen.
No, I won't. It's actually not in their hands.
Okay, now I'm telling you that PDP allowed it to happen. There wasn't any entry barrier. There was no stumbling block. There was no obstacle barrier to the formation of APC by the PDP. Was there?
Let's get one thing clear.
Okay.
To register a party does not amount to a party winning.
Okay.
After all, there are several other parties in the country.
All right then.
So I am not sure a Ganduje or the ruling party will refuse to register a party. But doing everything possible to not allow the so-called the would-be registered party to function as a real opposition is something everybody in power will do.
Okay.
All right then. Thank you very much, Chief Dr. Emmanuel Irayanema. So let me bring you back to the studio now. We've spent quite some time there in Port Harcourt. Let's bring you back to Lagos. Mr. Akin, do you perceive that the APC is intentionally putting discord in parties to ensure that they don't come up as opposition in 2027? And there have been allegations in this regard. El-Rufai also said something in this regard, that the APC is financing, putting monies in the Labour Party, PDP, to ensure that these parties don't form a formidable force against the APC in 2027.
Thank you very much for that brilliant question. The crux of the matter. It was the crux of the matter. Like Dr. Emmanuel, and I thank him. Sometimes you get people who can think straight and logically come on analysis. But before I do that,
all right. I was going to say just go straight into analyzing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Going straight. It's part of my analysis.
Please.
So you must understand where we are coming from. The initial thing you talked about was billboards. And the ruling party said they were going to dissociate themselves. And that becomes an indictment. I think it was timely, it should be done. This movie has been seen before. Whether it is Jonathan, whether it is governors, people go ahead and pull billboards. The only other caveat I would just put in there, fit columns. And people who wants to just go and do something, they will not necessarily be part of the ruling party. The next party has now then come and said, look, don't do this. But I'm in agreement that whoever is responsible the authorities should go after them.
Now you don't recall that
please. Let me quickly just land this, and then you can take it away.
I'm staying with you on this one.
Now, no. I've just.
You don't want to answer questions again?
No. I've just answered the question.
Okay.
So, but the question you asked me, please don't modulate. Please. Don't get into my thoughts. On the issue that do I feel the ruling party is funding allegedly and all that, like Emmanuel said there, it's like a game of chess. It's a game of politics. Is there anybody that stops you to infiltrate the other party? The issue in the last election is still the issue in the coalition. What is the issue? The issue is so many cacophonous all going. Who is going to be your presidential candidate?
I would like for you to land on your thoughts so I can ask my next.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so to the extent that you are not able to do that, people will continue to laugh at you. I will continue to laugh at you as Rabu wrote that.
Have you landed?
Okay, I know that. So,
landed?
As far as I'm concerned,
okay,
Ganduje is very, very, very correct.
Okay.
We'll be looking at you and say, look, what are you people doing?
This can be considered you landing now because we are running out of time. So let me ask the next question.
Okay, yes.
Like I said, I'm going to stay with you on this one. Talking about billboards and the rest, and the presidency dissociating itself, but some Nigerians have also said that that has been the pattern of the Tinubu administration, because before 2023 elections, there were billboards around. There were billboards around 2020, 2022, 2021, 2022.
Correct.
Buses around Lagos that had Tinubu for president in 2023. And this was when? In 2021, 2022, when it wasn't time for campaigning yet.
Right.
And the president at the time dissociated himself from such.
Right.
But some Nigerians said, look, it's in the character of the president to encourage people to put his face out there and then dissociate himself, but then come out to contest later. Okay. How do you react to that?
Okay, my reaction is simple. You see, you came with logic.
Can you be straightforward so I can go to
you can go ahead. If you are not going to allow me, you ask me a question.
No, because
I'm not being straightforward.
You're deviating. Please go.
No, I'm not deviating.
Go ahead, please.
I've come here for analysis. You can't be telling me that I'm deviating.
Please go
you
ahead.
asked me a question, and from the onset, I made it clear. I said we've seen these movies before.
Okay.
Not just because of Bola Tinubu or even other presidents. You know that as a pressman. So why are you now then saying? And the guy now then saying, look, if that was done wrongly, then. And said, look, I'm not going to allow that because it's going to go against the electoral rule. Please, I dissociate myself. You still indict? I pass. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Barrister Darlington, please. How do you react to
Moses, you see, when something is bad, it's bad. Let's call a spade here. Look, whenever you are trying to analyze somebody,
Barrister, please go straight to the point.
Analyze that person based on what you told you and I. You say you're a Democrat, you fought for democracy, and you are the one destroying this same thing you told us you fought for. Are we not supposed to ask you a question? If somebody like Buhari or any other person who did not fight for democracy according to them, you that told us you fought for democracy, is that how you fought for democracy? Moses, a president of America, a presidential candidate of America, Richard Nixon, he shut down his ambition because he was eavesdropping on an opponent. Watergate scandal. Just like that.
All right, Barrister, let me stay
and now, you are making it impossible for the opposition to exist.
Okay, Barrister, we are running out
and somebody is telling me it's a game.
We are coasting home. We are
How
running out of time. We have to end
up?
this conversation and take the final conversation, the final topic.
Okay.
Now, still on 2027 and beyond, a fortnight ago, an American House member and the Ogles mooted the idea of amending the 22nd Amendment to probably give Trump a third term. African leaders are copycats, and they always copy what is right. What is right for their self-interest, what can benefit them, things that are self-serving. And recently we've had people campaigning for single six term, for Nigerian president. Probably thinking that it might begin from the next dispensation, 2027. If you put all of this together, does it point, and people that are campaigning these things are people that are sympathetic to the APC. Does it in any way show a direction to the fact that, look, something might just happen beyond 2027?
In that of America, it will never fly. Forget it.
Okay.
It cannot.
Then back home here?
Not in this age and time. But at home here, it will equally not fly.
Okay.
Except somebody wants problem in Nigeria.
Because we tried it before. And
we tried it,
fly.
it not work, and it cannot work. On what basis? With this bad leadership. No, you want it to continue. It can never happen. Mr. Okoro, no matter what they try to do, it will never happen. I know the limit you can take from anybody. That's my own take on this matter. But to tell me that what APC have done so far in office is right, is wrong.
All right, now thank
they
you very much.
have made sure that opposition leaders
Darlington
are being hounded.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister Darlington Agumo. Well, we'd like you gentlemen to stay with us. Dr. Emmanuel, Comrade Destiny, Mr. Akin Fatunke, and Barrister Darlington Agumo. We'd like you gentlemen to stay with us as we get into another conversation now. Going to Delta State, where we hear that going to the Niger Delta, where we hear Niger Delta militants have launched attacks on oil infrastructure, and they have vowed to expel usurpers. Let's x-ray this when we come back from this break.
From the views on the street
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries. Voice of
Thanks for staying with us. Now, armed militants from the Movement for the Emancipation of Niger Delta, MEND, and the Liberation Army of the Niger Delta and Bakassi, Land and B, launched coordinated attacks on key oil installations in Rivers State, further escalating tension in the region amid a political crisis. These attacks, which occurred early Sunday, included the destruction of the Ogadabras Ajib trunk line and a strategic target along Orong River, signaling a disruption of vital national economic assets. Well, in a statement, the operations commander of Land and B stated that the assaults were part of a campaign to remove usurpers of the people's legitimate authority from River State, urging other armed groups to respond to the perceived affront caused by recent federal political intervention. The violence follows increasing unrest in River State after President Bola Tinubu declared a state of emergency in March, leading to the suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara and the State Assembly. As of now, there has been no official response from the Nigerian military or presidency regarding the attacks. We still have in the studio here Mr. Akin Fatuke, Barrister Darlington Agomo, and in Benin City we have Comrade Destiny Enabulele, and in Port Harcourt, Dr. Emmanuel Irenyunama. Gentlemen, thanks for staying with us. Now, Barrister,
yes,
I want to ask you a question now from a legal point of view. At what point does freedom fighting become a legal instrument in the pursuit of justice?
No.
I mean, sorry, could there be any justification for the use of civil disobedience, sabotage, attack on national assets, in the pursuit of justice? Because we have a situation where we have people now who are saying, look, they have gone to court. The court stopped the sole administrator from appointing local government administrators. He defied the court.
Good.
And went ahead to appoint. They tried to do a protest to say, look, we are against the state of emergency in Rivers State. The protest was shut down. We have a situation where people are not given a free space to express themselves or to disagree with government. Now, government is more like trying to clamp down on dissenting voice. So at what point does it become a legal instrument to carry out attacks like this? We are trying to situate it between the precincts of morality, politics, and legality. If you put all of these things together, will there ever be a point? Would there ever be a point where people will say, look, this thing is acceptable? Look, if you look at Nelson Mandela at a point was designated a terrorist worldwide. He couldn't get into the United States. Even when he became a president, they had to work around it to let him into the United States. Because he was tagged a terrorist. Now, in all of this, what is the place of sabotage in the pursuit for justice?
Mr. Goro, don't go too far. When you as a government have refused to call a spade, this is what happens. You have been tolerating and pampering terrorists in the north. Mention any verdict against these people that have been obeyed by northern leaders. Mention one. And now you think that you have the monopoly of violence, Abi? You can see it now. It's
so this violence, at what point will it become acceptable?
When you say,
as an instrument in the pursuit of justice.
I'm coming.
Okay.
If you think that you have boys in the north who can surround the country, kill people, do whatever you like, these people are now leveraging on what they can do also. That's what is good for the geese.
Barrister, do you approve of what they are doing?
Why should I approve of it? But you should be asking the government, why did you refuse to obey court order? Why did you allow impunity and arrogance to prevail in the River State?
No, Barrister Darlington,
who called for this thing that's going on now?
Barrister, do you think that these people now that have come up, the Land and B and the MEND group, do you think that they are actually working or speaking for the people, given the fact that just last week or thereabout, Chisom Agbali told Nigerians that there is a ploy in place to make sure that the state of emergency declared in River State has been extended with all this bombing and this destruction of pipelines and all that? Won't that extend this, state of emergency from 6 months to far beyond? And if that is to be done, then the tenure of similar Ifubara will be over by then.
Please, the original intention of the state of emergency is it not to curb insecurity? Now that this thing is going on, have you curbed the insecurity? Is that not what we told the Tinubu here ab initio? You were pursuing your selfish agenda in the name of fighting insecurity where there was none. So now the thing has boomeranged. You are waking up a sleeping lion. We told him all these things. I said it here. But he didn't pay attention that the people of Niger Delta, they are not like any other group. Oh. They have seen that thing as their weapon of what? Attack. Weapon of leverage. Weapon of response. And you cannot blame them. You can't cry a baby and ask that baby not to cry. The original intention was that there was tension in river, there was this, there was that. Now, what is he going to say with what is going on? Because these guys have come out to declare their intention. They are not hiding their identity.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Barrister Darlington. I would have loved to ask the man who is in Rivers State a question, but he just left the conversation due to network issues. But let's go to Benin now, where Comrade Destiny and Abulele is. Well, Comrade, now before the declaration of a state of emergency, there were pipeline explosions. These happened, a few of them, about two, I think, happened in certain parts. And then there was the declaration of state of emergency. But we've heard voices of people saying that, look, these explosions were orchestrated by the government to justify the imposition of a state of emergency. But let's look at what's coming out now from that part of the country where MEND and some other individuals have said, look, this is what we want to do. We want to bomb pipelines. We want to destroy pipelines. And also, government on Polo in the papers today said Siminalayi Fubara will come back as governor of Rivers State. With all of this, a few questions here now. Is he privy to something? Is he privy to some sort of agreement? What do we see in the coming days if the threats being issued by MEND and some of all these bodies is anything to go by? Are we going to see Nigeria's economy deep when the pipeline flow of crude is disrupted?
Quickly say this. You see, freedom fighting or fighters movement can emerge at any point that there is a violation or infringement of the collective will of the people. What has happened in Rivers, you will agree with me very, very, very copiously, that there has been a violation of the collective will of the people. So for me, if you ask the president now, then in his early days as a politician, perhaps let me take it to Afenifere and the likes. It's because the military rulers are trying to take the people from the civilian rule to a khaki, what we now know as the military rule. That is what bettered the freedom fighter for political inclusion. So what has happened in Rivers, to my mind, I have not seen, permit me very, very sincerely, the ill done by these quote unquote these freedom fighters. I must be very frank with you. See, there are different ways of calling anybody or any institution to order. If you spank a child, you will not determine or tell the child how the child will respond to your spanking. So he might decide to roll on the floor. He might decide to put his hand on the head and begin to cry. So it's not dependent. You can't determine how he or she will respond to the spanking. For me, I want to appeal. I said it from the very beginning of this infraction, democratic infraction in Rivers, that what they are doing is a bad precedent, and it may affect the Nigeria economy. And you and I know that the hub of the Nigeria economy that drives the Nigeria economy is the Niger Delta, which is the oil. And what we have in the north, the gold and what have you, are for the states in the north. But our own here, the oil in the Niger Delta, are for all of us. So that is why they ought to have been very, very careful in taking such a drastic action.
Okay. All right.
For me, I said it, let me say it again. I have not seen any wrong done by these freedom fighters.
Oh,
and I'm totally in support. I'm totally in support.
You're in support of the freedom. You're in support of the
what they are doing.
Bombing of pipelines?
Of what they are doing. Yes. And I start to be corrected. Because I said it earlier. I said if you spank a child, you will not tell the child how the child will respond to the spanking.
Yes,
or you can decide to roll on the floor. I remember when I was younger, when I was being spanked by one of my elder brothers. I rolled on the floor in my father's compound. So I decided to put my hands on the head and cry. So this is their way of telling the people that what they have done, the democratic infraction they have done in Rivers, that the people elected one man or a group of 3 persons, the Senate President, the ICT Minister, and the President, start together and decide to subvert the will of the people.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Comrade Destiny. Unfortunately, we have to go to Port Harcourt now because we have re-established contact with Chief Dr. Emmanuel. Good to have you back. Now, you are in Rivers State, the epicenter of it all at this time. And if I would want to take my question from what Comrade Destiny, who is in Benin, just said. I mean, he said he's in support. Well, some would say, how patriotic is that as a Nigerian, seeing that Nigeria's economy, the budget of Nigeria is hinged on oil. But the question now is, the people of Rivers State, from what you have observed, do you think they will be in support of the militants, carrying out these acts of bombing pipelines and the resultant effect of that, seeing that there is a state of emergency or what some have called martial law in the state? Do you think those that are holding forth will allow the militants, go ahead and bomb without some sort of confrontation? And how will that affect the peace being experienced in Rivers State currently?
To take one small step backwards, and that's to say, first, I'm sure you must have heard the song that everybody is asking for peace, but that nobody is asking for justice. That's a fundamental thing that is happening around. While I may not support militants taking arms and then bombing what we are describing now as state infrastructure, the only reason I will not do that is not because of patriotism. And I want to sound that very clear. It is for what the people will suffer afterwards. The attendant pollution around the environment.
Sorry to interrupt your train of thought. What I'm describing as state infrastructure, isn't it state infrastructure? Does it belong to a few people?
It's the people. How much of it is coming to Rivers State and how much of it is getting to the people? What's the state? The state is the people. And if everything that comes out there from is shared among a few persons and a few persons are getting out of it, what makes it a state infrastructure? Let's be honest to ourselves in this country. bombing the state infrastructure. Why is the state hijacked if not to come and loot the resources of the state?
All right, go ahead with your initial line of thoughts.
So that's the first issue I have. So the only reason why I will say do not is the fact that either way, it is the people that further suffers. You go, you bomb the thing. Yes, there will be no revenue which for them to loot or continue looting, as it were. But the attendant pollution will be suffered by the people. They have paid certain persons among the people to begin to turn against the people themselves.
All right.
So it simply means that when the people do take that action, there will be crossfires.
Okay.
And in that crossfire, who loses is the people.
Thank you so much.
Because
Thank you so much, Chief Emmanuel. Thank you so much, Chief Dr. Emmanuel. Let's bring you to the studio. Mr. Akinfatunke, when Chief Dr. Emmanuel said something about the crude or the oil that we have in Niger Delta not being state of, or what we call state infrastructure, we have the north where we have other mineral resources. We have the gold in Zamfara. We have so many other. Even what is being causing the insecurity in Borno State, as a case may be, also supposed to be a mineral resource, just the way the crude was, in Niger Delta. We recall that I think last week or during the weekend, Alain Dume said something. He said that Nigerian government or the president should declare state of emergency on insecurity and food, rather than declaring state of emergency in River State, which happened to be what these people are holding on to say they want to fight those who are usurping, their resources. Do you think that that call by Alain Dume is in the right direction, given the fact that even terrorists are being reintegrated back into the society on a platform of de-radicalization?
Good question. Alain Dume said state of emergency should be declared on security, food, and all. Moot point. At what point in time, all through his 20 or 21 years, again, when politicians begin their dance, I don't want to get involved, but your initial point was moot. Do we have a country? And like Destiny has said, and I totally dissociate myself, and in dissociating myself, I'm not going to be making a prescription. I'm going to be pleading that it is not 24 wrongs that is going to make a right. The Nigerian Federation has been standing on a tripod of what Dr. Emmanuel was saying, injustice, all true. And we seem to be wallowing in injustice here and there. My point, therefore, will be caution and wisdom. The PDP governors have gone for an interpretation of Section 305, which the president said they have intel information that pipelines are going to be bombed here and there. And well-meaning Nigerians have also chimed in for the suspension or not.
All right then.
I'm happy also that Tom Polo made a statement, even though like a bit of a comma. Let's be careful.
Right, unfortunately, we are
also
absolutely
plead that
okay.
Let's let all parties shit that salt.
Their salts, okay.
And solve this thing.
Well, this would be a good place to anchor. It's your final words there. Let all parties sheathe their swords. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. We've been speaking with Akinfatunke, who is a communication consultant, and we've also had Barrister Darlington Agumo. We've had Comrade Destiny Enabulele and Chief Dr. Emmanuel Urayanama. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming on the program. Well, that's it on VOP this morning. But newspaper review comes up shortly. That's at 9 o'clock on the DOT. On behalf of the team, Chukuma Okoro, Finoke Chuku, and the backroom staff, and Moses Humphrey, thanking you for joining us. Join us again at 9. Bye for now.